that's another. At the end, we're gonna try to pull some information out of it, on how we're gonna do. So I'm gonna just go ahead and hit record.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Hajil-E from Hometown Heroes, and we have with us today T.Rob, and he's here to tell us a story. For people who do not know you, can you tell us a little bit about T.Rob?
Well, yeah, T.Rob is born in Cincinnati, Tony Robinson, and all my life I've dreamed and aspired to be in the entertainment business. And throughout my years of being here in Cincinnati, my struggles, my highs, my lows, I've managed to accomplish that.
That's cool. You mentioned about the entertainment business. I'm familiar that you were in Cold Premiere and Cold Crush. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Okay,
well, you are absolutely right. There were two groups, actually, that formed together to become one. And the two groups that were once separate were Cold Crush and the Fellas. I initially started out with the Fellas. We were a four-man sing and dance act. And we basically did talent shows around the city, different high schools. Woodward used to have a talent show called The Bomb Show for all y'all out there who are familiar with those days. And we did Mount Healthy, Taft. While doing those shows, there was another group. It was a dance act called Cold Crush. Everybody in the city knew about Cold Crush. That's when breakdancing was heavy, pop locking, boogalooing, the whole thing. They would battle different groups around the city. But we would always find ourselves doing the same shows together. We became very close in doing those shows. And down the line, man, we realized that Chris and Shane, who were Cold Crush, were just dancers. The Fellas, who were singers and dancers, we knew that together we can create a powerful force. They knew that as dancers in that particular time and era, that there weren't many, I guess it wasn't too much room to grow. As a dancer, you couldn't be sold on a CD or tape record as it was back then. So for us to come together, it would have allowed Chris and Shane, who were just dancers, to now be able to have product put on wax as opposed to just being a visual thing. So that's pretty much how the Cold Crush and the Fellas thing came together to form Cold Premiere. So yeah, it stemmed from two groups. But I had the pleasure to even dance with Chris and Shane back in the days. We did a couple of high schools together, and man, them brothers, learning those routines that they used to get busy to, man, was not easy. But it taught me a lot by going through that period with them. It taught me structure, discipline, choreography, and the whole nine.
How does making a movie compare to the creation of an album?
Well, it's like night and day, man. Honestly, movies are fun. It's nothing like it once the product is finished. Making it is not that fun because what you're dealing with, unlike music, okay, we're in this recording studio. You have your cuts, your breaks, your takes, and whatnot. But once it's time to get on stage and perform, that's where we get all our our glory at. We get to go and do what we do and just let loose and be whatever you want to be. And acting is more monitored. You got to be careful with positioning. The way you're standing. Your articulation in certain lines. Positioning. If you hit your lines, you nail your lines, but you're out of position, or you just slightly got out of position, there goes a cut. It's gonna roll that over again. It's another 10, 15 minutes before you get back to rolling that over again. So it's a lot of hurry up and waiting. Music was a lot faster, a lot more. I guess you could say the excitement was there more so than films. But I could tell you, one thing about film is very powerful. You get on a nice project that takes off. I mean, you'll be getting fan mail from Uganda and Korea, man. If you got a good movie project out there, music you got to work a little harder, I believe.
That's cool. How would you say the music industry has changed since you've grown up?
Well, since I've been in it, it hasn't been that long, but there has been a big change. There's always change in the business. Even if you go back to the 70s when my parents were you know, youngsters and, you know, vibing on music and whatnot. It was, you know, 8-track tapes and vinyl, and, you know, it was real, it was simple. You know, you go get your album, you know, you didn't go buy singles really. They did have 45s, but, you know, you had a lot of, you know, album sales, and, you know, people had the 8-track tapes and whatnot. Today, everything it seems like it's synthetic. I don't knock the business today, because I think the thing I love about the business today is it's a lot more independency now. Acts like yourself, you're a rapper. All you have to do now is, you know, you got your computer, you probably got a couple music softwares that you can create your own music in your bedroom. You know, you can literally go from the bedroom to the billboards like that. You know, where we came up, it was more like, hey, you had to find somebody with a studio, because we didn't have, you know, it wasn't a studio in every home. You get lucky to find 1 or 2 of them in someone's home that was, you know, equivalent to something of quality. But we made do with what we had. I personally like those days, because it wasn't about how many views you were getting. It wasn't about, you know, how many likes you were getting, you know, to determine whether you were an artist or not. You had to prove it. You had to get out there. You had to work your projects. You had to do a lot of, you know, like us, a lot of talent shows, a lot of demos, getting your photos and all that stuff together. I think that, to me, was what gave the excitement to the business. Nowadays, everything's a click of a button. Not knocking the industry, but I personally think the difference between then and now is that the work ethic is a little bit, you know, different. I don't think people put time into, as they should, I don't think they put time into, you know, lyrical content as much as they used to, quality of production, originality, you know, but at the same time, they doing with what they, you know, they doing the best with what they have, and they working what they have to the fullest. Because I gotta commend them. They out there, they taking care of business though. Yeah. Deals are bigger than it was when we were coming up. You know, you can get in and get your control a lot, you know, easier now than you could back then. Like when we got signed, it wasn't that easy.
You mentioned that there's a lot more independency nowadays. Do you think that social media has a large effect on that?
I think social media is the king of it. I think in everything right now in life, social media has become the bloodline. I mean, if you take, I mean, I was talking to a gentleman in LA a couple months ago, and we were talking about apps, and he said, you know, man, you can almost do anything with apps today. Like, there's an app for everything. And I said, I told him, I said, I wouldn't be surprised one day if someone created an app that's an X-ray app. Like, if you get hurt or something and you can't make it to the hospital, or you can't get to the hospital, you know, just, you know, right there on the spot. You got an app, you take a picture of the spot where it hurts at, they send it right to the hospital, it's an X-ray. They read, they're able to tell you what's going on, you get there to the hospital, they know right what to do and what to go to. Yeah. I think that social media has allowed us to reach out to various areas that I know back in the days, you know, with us coming up, to get out somewhere into the Philippines and Indonesia and, you know, Japan and all those different foreign countries, you had to really either know someone or you had to be on your, I mean, you had to have a boatload of money. It took work. Today, it's just like, hey, you know, let me tag this person. Yeah. Let me go to Facebook and, you know, send it to this friend over here in, you know, Australia. And now you're known. Someone knows you over there. So I think that social media takes, I think they should take credit for a lot of today's way of dealing in the business, you know.
How would you compare selling hard copies to digital media today?
Same thing. As like I said, a lot more work. I love the fact that you can sell music digitally now, or you can promote digitally because of the simple fact that it's not as time consuming and financially consuming as well. If you think about it, hard copies, you have to go out and you have to pay for however many copies you order. You know, if I go out and I want to, you know, order and say a manufacturer says, well, we don't do anything less than 300. You know, I can't go and order 5 copies. I have to order 300 or more. So whether I sell that or not, I bought that. With the social media, I don't have to order any copies. I just put it out on the link. And if it catches, then, you know, I mean, hand over fist. Just pure profit, or, you know, you didn't lose a lot more money by going hard copy. So I personally prefer the digital way of doing things as opposed to the hard copy. But hard copy was fun too, because you physically see your CD. You know somebody got your CD. You go to their house and you're like, oh man, he got my favorite new edition CD, man. You know, so that's something I miss about the hard copy, not seeing CDs around anymore. Yeah.
If you could give any advice to any upcoming artists like myself, what advice would you give?
Well, personally, like I said before, my thing is staying true to your art and staying true to yourself. You know who you are, first of all, as a person. You know, you're obviously a young man, and, you know, you got years to go to grow. But don't take that for granted. You know, don't ever think that, you know, you're going to be 19, 20 years old forever, you know. And the longer you wait, the harder the process becomes. So as a young artist, I would say this to any artist out there who's young, and especially if you don't have any children, take advantage of your freedom. Take advantage of your availability. Take advantage of the energy that you have, your drive that you have in you to do these things, because as you get older, it's just, you know, nature kicks in, and more, you accumulate more in life. Children, wives, families, jobs, bills, you name it. Things that are not going to allow you to just get up and jump and leave. When we were your age, 17, 18 years old, man, we would, if we got like a school break or something, I remember got DJ Fresh from Cincinnati. He had a lot to do with a lot of local entertainment in the city. We would get together, man, rally up some money, be like maybe 10 guys, 2 carloads. We'll scrape up some money for gas up them cars, and head to New York, you know, just to be around where it was happening at. Because we knew in New York, you could be on 48th and Broadway, and, you know, LL Cool J may get out of a car going into a restaurant, or whoever, you know. We would get up and go take advantage of the fact that we were young. We didn't have all the responsibilities. We didn't have really children or anything like that. So my advice to a young artist is to never take for granted of the youth that you have, and the energy and the availability, because that's what's important. Timing in this is everything. It has only so much to do with talent. It's about timing, because if you think about the timing, if you have the time to say, well, you know what, there's a convention in Miami next month, I want to be there. What else am I doing? I got a job, but my job already said they'll give me the weekend off. So then I can ask, you know, Jimmy to take Monday and Tuesday for me. So now I don't have to worry about being somewhere and panicking about getting back to work. So I got a whole weekend plus a couple of more days off. Take those days, go to that convention, meet everybody that you possibly can, because what's going to happen is, like myself, I too still have friends in this business that I met when I was 17, 18 years old and taking those trips. Still have contact with them. And especially since social media came around, I'm able to reconnect, just like I was able to reconnect with Butch Gibson through social media. So I would say, in terms of the youth, take advantage of the simplicity that y'all have to work with compared to what we did. Like, you guys can go, there's a young kid, right? He's here in Cincinnati, 12 years old, and I've worked with his father on some projects, and he was sitting telling me about how his son started doing, you know, tracks at 10 years old. He let me hear some of them. I was blown away, because I'm like, wait a minute, how can you possibly be 10 years old and even think mentally like the arrangements and stuff I was hearing? So as we started talking a little bit more about it, he said, well, you know, what it is, T, is that he's not musically inclined. what it is he was accustomed as a little kid playing this some kind of game where they connect roller coasters. I don't know what this game is, but they connect roller coasters. And his son told him, all I did, Dad, was it's the same concept as the game, connecting the roller coaster. I just saw where you can connect this beat or this sound to this sound and connect that to that to that, and there you have a song. So basically, the simplicity in being able to do a production today, a lot different from us. We had to have a keyboard, drum machine, a DJ, turntables, you name it. We may even had to go and hire one of the, guys from the deal to play a bass line or something because we just didn't have the equipment that you guys have today to just be able to say, you know what? I mean, I listen to people's music today, and I'm like, okay, he playing me his stuff, and I'm looking around for equipment like, where's, you did the, okay, how did you play it? Oh, I just used my keyboard, which you don't even have a keyboard. I just use the keys on my computer. So how are you playing? I'm just pasting, copying, dragging. And they put music together like that and winning. So take advantage of your simplicity, man, and really, try to avoid pitfalls. And I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of guys around us who were doing the same thing we were doing as we were coming up, but they were falling off not because they didn't have the talent. They were falling off because self-infliction. Guy come up, man, and get a girl pregnant, and then he wound up getting a job. Then he gets a car. Car's, heavy car note. Now he don't want to lose his car because he's happy with this new ride. He got his little Nissan Sentra, 1988 Nissan Sentra with the color rims on it, matching the car, or I should say caps. And he's caught up in this car note, and he has to stay at Millicron now because he don't want to lose his car. And when he's faced to make a decision like, hey man, are you gonna, the group's getting ready to leave town for 2 weeks because we trying to record up here with this producer. What you gonna do, man? I can't leave my job because I can't lose my car. He don't leave his job. Group moves on. Group does what they set out to do. He eventually loses his job, loses his car anyway. But guess what? Opportunity as well. So that's my advice to the youth. Focus on what you have as a blessing. That means the availability. And go out and go after it.
So I've heard that you've been on local news stations. Is that correct?
That is correct. I actually been out talking about my project, promoting and just making people aware, making the city aware. I had a chance to appear on Foxx, actually all of the networks, ABC, NBC, CBS, and it's basically, it's to me it's very necessary that I did that because what the Quiet Giant is, it represents basically who I am and what I've gone through and the people that have gone through it with me. What the Quiet Giant basically represents is a person, and there's a lot of Quiet Giants out here. What the Quiet Giant represents are those who are relevant in others' lives without the public knowing. That's what quiet stands for. You not knowing. It's like Santa Claus, the story of Santa Claus. You're asleep. You wake up, there's gifts in your house. That's what the Quiet Giant represented. A lot of people used to tell me that all the time, that, man, you should be a bridge because you're always connecting, people. You're always connecting people. And you don't ask for anything for it. You don't want the glory behind it, the recognition behind. I mean, to me, putting you with a producer, I shouldn't get the glory for that. I mean, if you want to say, man, I appreciate T, you hooking me up, that's cool. But what you guys do with that is where the glory comes in at. So, but T.Rob the Quiet Giant, it started, I had gone through, we had, done the music thing, and like anything, all good things come to an end at certain points. I got burnt out in LA after, being out there over 10 years, just, you know, grinding, and you go through a whole lot. In the industry, you got to be prepared for rejection. Rejection is, I mean, it takes a strong individual to deal with rejection, because rejection is telling you no. And when you're young, like we were, being in LA away from, especially coming from Cincinnati, it was a little bit more simpler life. And you're going out there where all these wolves are at. You know, people are eating you away, you know, and I mean, they're aggressive, they're hungry, they've been wanting this all their lives. You know, everybody's out there on the same mentality. So for me, I kind of got burnt out of the unrealness I was around. You know, it became almost like too much entertainment and not enough real life. Because before the whole cold premiere, cold crush industry thing, I was Tony Robinson from Cincinnati, you know, little kid growing up downtown Cincinnati. And I remember a lot of my life as a regular, normal, you know, dude walking the streets, eating candy, going to school, than I was in the industry. You know what I'm saying? I mean, now I've gotten about equal time in the industry as I have, you know, being a kid before I got in. But I still have that instilled in me. So being around the Hollywood thing, it kind of got overbearing after a while. And I just started feeling like, man, I'm losing out on the finer things in life, the simpler things, like seeing suburban neighborhoods with just, you know, porches and, you know, front yards and stuff like that. You know, I was constantly either flying somewhere or, you know, you're just always on the go. Every conversation is about the music, about the business, about guess who's hot? Oh, this new project's coming out. Oh, I know this person. We need to try to hook up with this. Oh, I think I can get you guys on that. It was too much of that after so many years that I just wanted to, you know, give it a break. And a lot of people didn't know I moved back to Cincinnati. And I stayed here about a year and kind of like got a little bit of that normality back. You know, I wound up, that's when I came back here and had my first son here. And we were here a year, and I started getting a little bit more to taste back for it, but I didn't go right back into it. A lot of people also don't know is that while it was drying out, I was working. I had to go back into the work field. I was working a job, man, because again, perception in this business is not always accurate. It's not the truth. In other words, you're seeing something, you're looking at a video, and you see a cat on there with a Bentley. You thinking he going home with that Bentley. That's not his Bentley at all. It's rented. You know, and as a matter of fact, they stressing him on how much, hey, you got to pick it up, man. Every hour is costing us on this Bentley. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of perception. So I got tired of that and got into the normal life. And actually, because I had never worked during my younger years in pursuing this, I started liking working. I mean, it was a different type of security I felt in working. You know, I felt like, for a change, I knew that my paycheck was coming whenever it was due, every 2 weeks, every week or whatever, it was coming. I knew that I didn't have to get up every day and try to figure out a creative way to keep that company that I was working for floating and alive. So it was a lot of responsibility was relieved off of my back, and I kind of got into it. But like anything else, if you really love it, it's going to call you back. So what started happening to me was I started missing it. You know, like I'm currently working out now, losing weight again. I started gaining weight because you go through a thing where you get depressed when you stay away from your passion, you know, too long. So I started getting depressed. One of the members of our group named Shane Sparks, he ended up doing some great things while being out there in Los Angeles. He ended up getting on America's Best Dance Crew as a celebrity judge. He won was nominated for an Emmy for So You Think You Can Dance, and then he won some Choreographer of the Year award for You Got Served. We are like we're brothers to death. Love each other to death. We all are still the best of friends. But I would be lying to you if I didn't tell you, watching him continue to move forward and up like that, it was bothering me. I mean, it's almost like imagine you and your partners, man, y'all got a little thing together, and then you chill out, and they kept going, and things are moving, and they like, man, come on, man. You know we waiting on you. We missing something, man. We need that flavor. And you like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. You basically procrastinating. I'm gonna do it. But on the internal side, it's killing you because you know that's where you're supposed to be. Yeah. So me having that in me, you know, that hurt, it actually played a reverse role and started a fire. It ignited another flame in me, which I didn't think I had. Because I was really, I had ended up going into real estate. I started after I worked the job circuit, utilize that towards my advantage because when you're going to invest in real estate and, things like that, you need credibility, if the money ain't really heavy, you got to have some kind of credibility, job, good credit, things like that. So that came as a blessing. I ended up buying real estate properties. So I was pretty much in my head, I was telling myself I'm done with the music. I'm done with entertainment. I'll wait till my son grow up and instill it in him. But I'm done. I'm doing real estate. I'm okay. It was fun while it lasted. That didn't work either. Because the more I got into something else, my buddy Shane, I turn on the TV. He's at the red carpet at MTV Awards. I turn on, I'm online. I'm reading about B2K. They got this hot tour choreographed by Shane Sparks. So his motivation, determination, and all those things sparked that fire in me to do it again. So what ended up happening was I said, okay, if I'm going to come back in the game has changed so much since I stopped and took a break with the new technology and everything, new people. I said I had to reintroduce myself to people who once knew me, and I had to introduce myself to those who never knew me. That's when I created The Quiet Giant. That's why when you saw the preview of The Quiet Giant, you'll see various clips of Cole Premier in there. You'll see us. You'll see different industry people, speaking about my involvement with them in the earlier, years of doing this. Was because I had to give people, the information that was documented on me, in order for me to have the galls to say, hey, T.Rob back. Because T.Rob back, first of all, who is T.Rob? You back. We didn't never know you were here. So in order for me to do that, I had to have something to come with to back up my, my whole comeback, campaign. And T.Rob The Quiet Giant is what did it. So in other words, what you're going to see in this film is you're going to see a lot of people basically endorsing me. And being very honest about it and telling the public how I was involved with a lot of projects that people to this day don't know about, but they know about it. They know about the project, but they don't know that I had involvement with that. You'll hear about Carmen Electra, Jamie Foxx. I was involved in the Michael Jackson circle. A whole lot of various people in the industry I got a chance to shake hands and give ideas to and see them use those ideas. Snoop, Tupac, a whole gang of people. So in this film, I felt that was very important for me to come back on that note, as opposed to just trying to create this new project from out of nowhere that had no connections to who I was, who I am, and who I plan to be. This project is what that's doing. It's telling you it's basically it's going to be an hour bio discography. So you'll get a chance to see all of the grinds and the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows. You'll get to hear about when I lost my mom here. Most of the people in my family who have passed away since I've been gone, it happened when I was out of town. Another thing that the industry does to you is selfish. It does not care about what life you have. It's demanding. And if you're not prepared for that and you happen to hit, it's going to play a mental, it's going to play a psychic on you, because it's hard to swallow one day having, no freedom. Because you think when you're sitting in your bedroom dreaming, you see all these acts on stage, traveling everywhere. You see Drake smiling in every magazine. He's at all the award shows. That looks fun. But you don't hear about the stuff outside behind the cameras or when the tapes start rolling and Drake's like, look, man, my mom's sick. I need to go. I know, Drake, but we signed this contract. You got to go to Germany for a month. Well, man, I need a day or so to at least go see her. Okay, we'll give you a day. Go see your mom. Cool, she's good. Leave. She gets sick again. Now you can't go back. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's demanding. But at the end of the day, when you have a passion for it, man, that's what sacrifice is about. You know, you give up a lot to get certain things in life, and that's what I've done. So in this film, you're going to hear a lot about our beginning. You're going to hear a lot about my youth. There's a lot of turmoil that came out of my youth, being a kid, you know, growing up in Over-The-Rhine, one parent. My father was the drummer for George Clinton, Bootsy Collins. Never was in my life, though. You know, for 18 years, I didn't see my father until I was like 23. He was with us when I was young, up to 3 years old, and gone, or 6 years old, and he's gone. He's blowing up in the business. This is something I always wanted to do. So I'm looking at him. I became a fan of my father's, but didn't know him. You know, but then embarrassed to tell people this is my father because they like, why you living downtown? And your father with Bootsy and your father with George Clinton. So going through all of that, you're gonna hear that. You're gonna hear about this in the story. You're gonna hear about me. You know, my mom having to raise us by herself, and because she did, she had to leave us with babysitters. Because she left us with babysitters abused us. You feel what I'm saying? So you're gonna hear. It's not just about entertainment. You know what I mean? It's a whole lot that's gonna come out of this T.Rob the Quiet Giant. But at the end of it all, what I want you to get from it is that, you know, here's a man who feels like he lived the life of it's better to give than to receive. And that's what the Quiet Giant is about. It's like, again, the Secret Santa. It's going to tell you about how I rose from just adversity to accomplishing.
You have any additional information you would like to provide?
Yeah, what I want to, you know, basically get across at the end of the day is that all this experience that I gathered in my journey, I want to now spread it out. You know, for one, I want the city to get behind me. I really need y'all support. I want y'all to go and check out the preview that's out on the Quiet Giant and follow me until the release date of it, because I am planning on making it a real big thing, and especially here in the city of Cincinnati. I want to do my premiere here. I want to do all the whole gatherings and the parties and, you know, the media, the celebrities, and you name it. I want them to come to our backyard, because that to me is the only way that I feel that would best celebrate this project, is letting them see where it originally started. So yes, go out and support that. You can go to YouTube and basically you can just type in T.Rob Quiet Giant Preview and that'll pull you up. You can also go to my website, which is www.trobthequietgiant.com, and on there's links where you can link up to me. You can, you know, send me if you got ideas, if you got projects that you want to get out. You know, I'm down for working with my people, you know, in the city. I have a project right now that I'm currently working on. A group of guys, they're called the Flight Club Fam, and you can check them out. I guess they have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/FKFTV, Flight Club Fam TV, and hot guys, man. They happen to be out of Memphis. They're hot, but like I said, my thing is I want to get, you know, involved with some hometown talent, and we've tried it plenty of times, and plenty of people try it, and you know, we just can't seem to get that one project to just break over for Cincinnati. You know, like Nelly did for St. Louis, and you know how, you know, you got the Atlanta thing booming down there. Like Cincinnati needs to boom, because a lot of the good music that we got from that's legendary, a lot of it came from out of here. So I want to bring that attention back to the city.
All right, I'm Hajil-E with Hometown Heroes. Thank you for watching. T.Rob, any closing comments?
Yeah, well, I want to thank the city of Cincinnati. I want to thank all the media outlets that have gotten behind me and supporting me through my project. Definitely want to give shout outs to Cold Premiere. If it wasn't for Cold Premiere, you know, I wouldn't even be here talking about this project. I want to thank all of my family, the Robinsons, all of my friends who have gotten behind the project, the friends who are in the project, the radio stations, the city in total. I really appreciate the love that I've been getting, and I'm happy and proud to be a native of Cincinnati, and I'm seeing where the city is going and growing, and I'm proud of it, and I want to thank you guys for having me, and big shouts to Butch Gibson, my man Reese. You know, it's an honor to be sitting in the room with Butch Gibson again, you know, the real Butch Gibson. And I mean, the brother just brought up something, man. It's like, I mean, just threw me back. Like, what you looking at, you probably can't say it that good, but what you looking at is, I ain't gonna give you no dates, but I better put this down. What you looking at is some pictures of Cold Crush and Cold Premiere, DJ Fresh, got Danny O, the Bond Hill crew, the legendaries of rap. I mean, man, we should do it here, man, and we're gonna continue to do it, and we just encourage all the youngsters to, you know, shape up, get positive out here, stop doing this crazy senseless stuff to each other, man, and give each other time to live and enjoy success. Peace, one love, this T.Rob. You've been hit. Boom.
I'm a hometown hero for my Buckeye State city with the Bengal Tiger, so I'm doing great. These people see what I be doing and they quick to hate. These haters wanna see me stop, I tell them that they too late. Let me on the mic to get your hype. When I get on the beat, got punchlines that fight. When I go home, get on the microphone, bad to the bone. You are not in our zone. Think you Superman, my rhymes are kryptonite. Better watch out, cause you know I'm such a fight, and I shine bright, so for you it's just good night. But even when it's night, I can get a crowd hype like bang, bang, bang to the boogie. Banging so much, you would think I had the toolie. Laying rappers down like I let them drink a roofie. Leaving feeling all mad even when I'm acting goofy. But my mind is still a little spooky. And I go harder than a ghetto acting groupie. And it's kinda hard for them to group me because I'm in my own genre. What a movie. People try to outdo me when they are not better. I'm tired of